Hi, welcome back. Today we're going over the books that I read in July. I have not done a wrap up since February. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to ignore all the books that I read between then. Hi, I read 19 books. I have not been reading really anything. I listened to 13 audiobooks. I had 6 physical books. I think that's right. Yes. 13 audiobooks, 6 physical books, 13 romances, 5 thrillers, 1 nonfiction. I'm going to do something a little different this wrap up, and I'm actually not going to do star ratings except for the first book that I want to talk about. So let's hop on in. You all know how I do this if you've been here before. We go from the smallest genre, so the smallest amount of books from a genre that I read, to the largest amount, and yes, that is destroyed. Let me fix it. I just filmed a secret TBR thingy that I'm not going to put back there, because if I do, you're going to know what the secret TBR is. Okay, well, you got to deal with the gap now because I'm dumb. Anyway, so let's start with the first book that I read. It's a nonfiction book. It's called So You Want to Talk About Race. I listened to this on audio. I thought it was very powerful and I loved it. I will continue to say that everyone needs to read this when my goddaughter is finally of the age where she's kind of understanding things. She's only 5 right now, so she's really not at the age where I can hand her this book and be like, go read this. This is a book that I'm going to suggest her mom let her read when she gets older. This is a book that I recommend to my family, my friends, to anyone who doesn't understand racism or that the things that they do can be racist. This is the thing I'm going to give them. I feel like this is a very easy step to get going. I don't think that if you read this, it's the end all be all. We have to keep going, and I will keep going. So as my audiobooks come available, you will be seeing more of those in my wrap-ups. I have a bunch of holds for all my libraries with different books talking about race, so I'm very excited about that. When I got it, there was no weight on it, so I don't know if you live in and you use the Kentucky library system, go check this out, because I think that it actually is available still. So yes, really good book. Please go read it. So then we have some thrillers that I went through. I had 5 thrillers this month. The first one that I want to talk about is the Roanoke Girls. The Roanoke Girls follows a family of the Roanokes. So all of the girls either go missing or they die or they run away. The main character goes there after her mother passes away, and she leaves. So this is told in dual timelines, 2 separate timelines, the before and the after, the when she was there and the when she goes back looking for her cousin who went missing. Personally, I really enjoyed this. I thought the story was really fun. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought that the narrator did a really good job on this, and I overall just had a really fun experience with it, and I thought that it was a good book. I don't want to say this is a favorite book of all time. This is not one of those. This is not a book that I'm going to look back on forever and I'm going to absolutely love. This is just a book that was really fun and I really enjoyed, and it gave me a really fun time, and I'll remember pieces of it and I'll remember the story, and I definitely recommend it to other people, but this is not one that I would say that absolutely blew my mind, absolutely was amazing. I thought the leads up to the reveals, I don't think they were twists. I thought that the author did a good job of feeding you information without spoon feeding you information, and actually, you know, you can figure it out, and it was fun. So I really liked that one. Next up, we have The Good Girl. I don't remember the author. I think this is Mary Kapika. I don't know. But this one was just okay. This one follows a girl who is kidnapped, and she lives with her captor for a while, and her family's looking for her. We don't get the girl's point of view to the last chapter, so we get the mom's point of view, the detective's point of view, and the captor, the kidnapper's point of view. Like I said, this one, I didn't really like it. The narration kind of wasn't great, and I didn't really like the storyline. I didn't really like the reveals. Overall, I just listened to it because it was short and I needed something to listen to on my drive to work every day, so I did. But other than that, I wasn't very invested in it. Next up, I read My Lovely Wife. This one was interesting. This follows a married couple who kill people together. I love murder in books. I love dark stuff in books. And this one just, it was fun, but it didn't like do it for me. You know what I mean? This one, I had issues with certain parts. I liked our main character, our husband. I idea of trying to find the perfect victim to kill. I liked the family element that was in there. I thought the narration was good. I thought the way the story was told was good. I didn't love the ending. I thought the ending was kind of meh, and the reveal that actually happened was just okay. So this was not one of my favorite books ever, but it was fun and it was really entertaining. And the way that I kind of look at audiobooks and books in general, because like honestly, I know we have this debate every like 6 months where everyone's like, read critically or you can only read, you know, for fun. But honestly, I read for fun. I read for escapism. I come on here and I tell you about the books that I read, and I tell you whether I had a good time reading them and whether the writing was good. But like, honestly, I read for fun. I don't read to hate myself. So I thought it was fun. I don't regret spending the time on it. If I regretted spending the time listening to an audiobook, I would tell you. If I regretted the time reading a book, I would tell you. And this is a situation where I don't regret the amount of time that I spent listening to this. Was it my favorite book ever? No, but I had a good time. It was really fun, and I don't regret the time spent listening to it. That's not the case for this next one. The next one is An Anonymous Girl by Geir Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I was really disappointed by this one because I loved The Wife Between Us, and I know that a lot of people were like, if you like this one you won't like this one, or if you like this one you won't like this one. This one follows a girl who takes a study from a psychologist. This psychiatrist becomes kind of obsessed with the main character. So my problem is that it was kind of interesting, and I enjoyed the characters for the most part. I thought it was a very interesting and enjoyable situation with the characters and everything, but my problem was specifically that I just felt like it was so convoluted. It was just overly long. I felt like there was too much going on. I felt like we would get a reveal and I thought something would be over, and then we get more and it didn't feel like it was necessary. So for this one, I just didn't really have a good time. I just didn't really enjoy it. For the first quarter to the second half, to the first half of the book, I was pretty invested. I was enjoying it the most of the time. But after that point, it just felt like it was repetitive for no reason, and I didn't really like that portion. Now, I did have this kind of built up in my head. I thought I was going to enjoy this a lot, but I didn't. So, do I regret my time listening to it? I only regret the last third of the book listening to it, I think. And I only say that because I think that I could have spent more time listening to other books. So that's the only reason I say that. I did have an okay time. The narrators were pretty good. So yeah, that was that one. Okay, so the last audiobook I listened to, I actually really liked this one. This is Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. This one is interesting because I read Gone Girl like 3 years ago, and it was like one of my favorite books ever. It was one of the first books that ever got me into thrillers. I'm sorry if you can hear cars in the background. I moved out of the city and you can still hear cars. I apologize. So this one follows a girl whose brother kills her entire family, and she's like the lone survivor other than him, and he's in prison. And it's her trying to figure out whether or not he actually did it or not. And honestly, I loved this one. This one was so much fun. This one was entertaining, and I thought the story was good. I thought the way the story was told was fun, and I thought that the enjoyment that I had was worth the time I listened to it. I don't think anything was overly long, and I really recommend this one. I think that if you've not went back and checked out Gillian Flynn's backlist, you should, because I'm going to be doing the same thing. I have like one book left from her, and I think that if you like thrillers, you should read this. And I think that the way that the author did this was just, it was a good story, and it was really fun, and it's worth the time you spend listening to it. I think that the whole idea of the story is awesome, and the way that our main character develops throughout the entire story is awesome. She starts out so unlikable, but I grew to love her with every chapter that I listened to. So now we have the 13 romances that I read this month. We're going to start out with one that is from a reading vlog you all never saw, because I've not finished it and I just don't know if I'm going to at this point. So, first we have The Journalist by Tia Lewis? I don't think that's her name. Anyway, we have The Journalist. This follows a journalist who finds an escort. I think she's not called an escort. I can't remember exactly what she's called. That's something like that. And he is like, oh my god, you're my big break. I need my Pulitzer Prize. I need to become like the amazing journalist ever in the whole world, and I need you to let me do this story on you because you're a Harvard student or some kind of Ivy League student and you're also an escort, so I need to do the story on you. And this book was so bad. I DNF'd this one at like 40%. Main character's stupid. The editor in this book is stupid. Everything about being a journalist in this book is wrong. Why? Okay, so I'm gonna give you a small lesson on journalism from a former journalist. A byline is that name on the story. You know, the story, you know, with our headline. So say the headline is Canon is awesome. You know, Canon cameras are awesome. By the byline, Canon cameras are awesome by Tamika. The byline's your name. These characters are our journalist and our editor-in-chief at this place actually said that a headline, now let's break this back down. The headline would be Canon cameras are awesome. Said that was a byline. And I'm like, how did you do such poor research that you found the word byline, which is not a common word that you know unless you go to journalism school or you're in the news business, and you mixed it up with a headline? Like, how did you do that? I'm not gonna dwell on this book too much, but I wasn't happy about it. I'll just tell you that right there. Next we have Falling for the Playboy by Kennedy Fox. I'm so happy I finally read a Kennedy Fox. This one took me forever because I was in an audiobook slump. I didn't want to listen to audiobooks. Finally got into it. It's a road trip between an author's assistant and an author's cover model, and they're not allowed to be together. This was fun. I thought it went too quickly at the end. I felt it wrapped up too quick, but I enjoyed the progression. I enjoyed watching these characters fall for each other, and I enjoyed their banter and their bickering. Again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun, and I don't regret listening to it. So next up we have Zinni, and this is by Rebecca Weatherspoon, and I'm just so happy that I read this. This has a bisexual female and a bisexual male, and I love that because I love that relationship. I've never read a book where both characters are bisexual, and that makes my heart so happy. You all don't even understand, because that just speaks to me on so many levels. I felt so seen. So I love this relationship. I loved the characters. I loved the Scottish accent that was on one of them. I love the Scottish accent. I loved the fact that we had some representation from Black authors. I also loved that the characters are so open with their sexuality. It is just precious, and I loved that their breakup scene made so much sense. Like, it wasn't just like, oh my god, like we have to break up because you're dumb and I don't like you, but they broke up for like real reasons, like what a real couple would break up for, and like they still wanted to be together, and like you can come back from it because it wasn't dumb. It was like a real thing that like makes people break up, and it's sad, but it's just the fact of life, and the fact that they were able to get back together. My heart. It is a marriage of inconvenience. They have to get married in order to inherit the will from Zinni's grandmother. I loved it. I loved Mason. They were so cute. There's pegging in this book. Thank you, Izzy. I love this book, okay? I loved it a lot. So next up, I'm gonna go over these next couple pretty quickly because I did do an entire reading vlog where I read historical romance for the first time. If you've not seen that, please go look at that video because I've now got a new obsession with historical romance. So I'll go quickly over those. I read The Wallflower Wager by Tessa Dare. I really liked that one. I read Falling for the Highlander. This is by Lindsay Sands. I did not love this one as much, but I do blame myself because I jumped into the fourth book in a series and I didn't know that. Next up we have Angus Moore's Wild Night. Every time I say that, it sounds like I'm saying Wild Night, but how did I instinctually just make fun of my own country accent. Anyway, so that one I didn't give a rating. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was fun. The next one that I read was Highland Spitfire, 5-star read. Absolutely my favorite book of the entire month. I love this book. Probably in my top 5 of the entire year. I actually think it's like tied. It's like my second favorite book. It's like it's tied with my number 1. I don't know. I have 2 for number 1. I don't know. But I love this book, Enemies to Lovers. And then the last one was a sapphic. It was A Little Light Mischief, which the title I continuously get wrong. Really fun. I really liked that one. Please go read that, watch that reading vlog, because it was a whole journey. It was like a whole experience. It was a whole journey, and I really, really loved it. So then we have a Brianna Howell. We have Devram's Discipline. This is a first book in a Royals romance. I really, really love this. I have a review on Goodreads. It's actually just really short. It's not really a real review, but I love this. I thought the characters were fun. I really liked the age gap. It was an actual silver fox, and Brianna, just the steamy, the daddy, all of it's amazing. I love her. Please go read this. It just came out recently, and 100% can't wait to read the rest of the books. My only complaint was it was a little short for my liking. Second, I read the second book in the Highland Wedding series. This is Highland Vixen. It was the second book to the Highlander Spitfire series, or not series, the Highland Spitfire was the second book. I really liked this one. This followed Helen and the brother, whose name I've already forgotten. I think it was Mason, and I really, really loved that. It was really fun. Again, it was a marriage of convenience. It was kind of an arranged marriage. Again, I really loved the way the characters interacted. I loved watching them court each other, and it was just really fun. I loved it. Again, I love the experience. I love the audiobook, and I can't wait to read all of the books from this author. Next up, I read 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. This was a brother's best friend romance. The brother's best friend comes in to help work on this house that the main characters inherited from their grandmother. They are twins, and I really, really love this story. I actually really, really liked it. I love the bickering and the banter, and I love the fact that the main character has a heart condition. I love that the main character is a bartender, former photographer, and kind of goes back to being a photographer. I really like that. I'm a photographer. Well, I'm not really a photographer anymore because I was a photojournalist, so I'm not technically doing photojournalism anymore, but I really, really love that. I love photography, so I really liked watching that. I loved watching the characters come together. I will say that Darcy is a moron during some parts of this book, and she drove me absolutely nuts. But again, I really, really liked watching them and watching these characters grow and watching them all come together and the book finish out. Then the last book that I'm going to talk about really, really quickly, because there's not much to say on it, I read Dashing Through the Snow by Debbie McLemore, and I read this at the last minute of the last of the month because I wanted to get a Christmas romance in, because I didn't get to participate in the Christmas in July readathon. I wanted to just get one Christmas book in. This is following 2 people who take the same car to Seattle, and their romance, it happens over a couple days. It is very insta love. I did not like it that much. There was a dog involved. I liked that. And there was an FBI plot that made no sense. I don't recommend reading this. I spent 2 hours listening to it, and I would have rather done anything else. So I don't recommend that one, and I wouldn't try to read it. Honestly, I would skip right over it if I were you. So with that being said, all of those books were a mouthful. My mouth hurts. My camera battery's dying. I have to go now, but I want to let you know that if you want to be my friend on any other platform, I have Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, all linked down below. If you click on the Goodreads link and you're kind of confused, it does say Stella Ferris. It has my pen name on it. So I will see you all in my next video. Bye, everyone.